In this video, let's talk about some of the key warning signs that your grant is getting off track. And grants don't usually fail all at once. It happens little by little. 1 month, you're late on a report. The next month, you all skip a budget reconciliation. And these things happen little by little and start compounding until it's a major issue. So in this video, we're going to discuss 3 major warning signs that your grant is getting off track, and then how to fix it before it becomes a major risk or a compliance issue. Now, the first warning sign is that you're always reacting instead of following a schedule. You're rushing to try to complete a budget report because a report to the funders due, or you're scrambling trying to find documentation that you already should have readily available, but you're going through emails, you're going through random folders because this documentation was requested by another department or by an auditor. So if you're always scrambling, if you're always reacting instead of being proactive, that's a problem in grant management, because when you're reacting, that's when mistakes happen. In grant management, you have to follow processes and systems. So every month, there should be a budget reconciliation. Every week or bi-weekly, you should have a meeting between the grants team and the program team. Every single report deadline should be in your calendar and should be scheduled. And not just the deadlines, but also schedule when you start the report. Schedule when you have to have it to the first person to edit and to review. So all these milestones are also scheduled in addition to the deadline. So if you're seeing that you're always just trying to tread water, stay afloat, and you're always reacting, that's a big warning sign that your grant is kind of falling off track. Now, the second warning sign is that your grant budget isn't adapting to reflect reality. So a grant budget isn't something that's etched in stone. It's a starting point and a roadmap for how you plan to spend the grant funds. But in reality, things happen. Conferences get canceled or move to being virtual or online. Vendors raise their prices. Staff members leave the program, or there might be a hiring freeze that you didn't foresee. So when you're on the ground, these things happen that you never would have or never could have foreseen while you were creating the original budget. So as a grant manager, you have to identify these things and then think through, speak with your team, and think through, does my budget need to change? Do my forecasts need to change? Do my reporting deadlines need to change? And have this conversation with your team, have this conversation with the funder if need be, and then make these adjustments and adapt as necessary with what you're seeing on the ground. Now, the third warning sign is that no one is looking ahead. Everyone's focused on right now and how do we stay afloat right now. And no one's looking next quarter, no one's looking at next year, no one's looking at 3 to 5 years down the road. And, grant management is about anticipating what's coming next, anticipating budget modifications, which we discussed at warning sign number 2. Thinking through grant closeouts and grant end dates, and then thinking through, our grant proposals. What have we submitted? And if we receive those grants, how will it affect our spend on our current portfolio of grants? So not only looking at what's going on right now and completing the tasks that we have right now to manage the grant, but also looking at next quarter, looking next year, and looking at 3 to 5 years down the line as well. So review your grants and see if any of these 3 warning signs apply to your grants. If so, take steps now and address those things now so that it doesn't, continue to build, and then you get to a point where it's too late and you have some serious compliance issues. So if you have any questions on these 3 warning signs or anything when it comes to grant management, feel free to reach out and contact me. I'll talk to you soon.